It's always funny to me when a company puts a message before entertainment, and that is exactly what happened with this studio. They were known for their anti capitalist games, and we found out just a few weeks ago that they were actually shut down by their publisher. And now their latest game, where you fight and you liberate people of the kingdom, has epically failed. I have a few different things to show off, but before I get into the topic, if you enjoy the content I create, check out the links in the description, join the community in my live streams, and consider supporting through Patreon or YouTube memberships. Now, this is a more indie studio. They aren't supposed to be a AAA, getting hundreds of thousands to millions of players in their games at once, but nobody is talking about this, and nobody is playing this, and this is what you get when you put a message before entertainment. So I had covered this on March 4th. It says the developers of workplace comedy Say No More and an anti-establishment roguelite Rainbreaker are closing down, and the news comes just 2 weeks before their final punky action game is due to come out. Studio Fizbin has been struck by ongoing cuts at their parent company Thunderful, they say, and despite pitching follow-up projects to work on after Rainbreaker's release, none of those will go ahead, which means they'll be winding down at the exact moment you'd hope they'd be celebrating a payoff from years of work. Now, I don't like to revel in the fact that people are losing their jobs, but I have to say this constantly. If you are bad at your job, then you do not deserve to have that job. If you were actually creating products that people loved and that people were playing, then you most likely would not be in this position. But when you go on to say, oh, your studio is anti-capitalist and your games are anti-establishment, that's just not going to get a lot of people interested in your product. It says if you haven't seen it yet, Rainbreaker is a very purple and black action roguelike about bringing down a tyrannical queen with plenty of spear chucking and upgrade choosing. I just want to point out that I'm sure they meant literally just throwing a spear, but spear chucker is a term that has been used in the past as an ethnic slur for people with African ancestry. And within this game itself, as you can see just right here in their launch trailer, the spear sister is a black woman. I don't know what they meant by that, but that's pretty suspicious, at least in my opinion. When James played its monarch toppling chain gunnery, he noted flashy isometric fights and pausing for a chat with some charismatic, lovingly hand-drawn, likely flirty side characters. And as for the theme, it's a response to the, quote, rise in right-wing authoritarianism all around the world, the growing class divide, and exploitation. Nobody cares about this when they are buying a video game. That's just not what people want to purchase. We have seen project after project after project fail because they focus too much on pushing a message. And sure, there are some products where you're supposed to walk away with a very clear interpretation of a message, but it's not so blatantly in your face, or if it is, it's just written so well that you can't help but appreciate it. Like, look at some of the themes in, I don't know, the Hunger Games. Look at some of the themes in Cyberpunk. Those are stories that have a message in them. This is just a message within a message. And that's all these developers cared about. And well, this Rainbreaker game, as you can see, has released. It's only $10, so you'd think that there would be some people lining up to purchase this product. Again, it's not supposed to be a AAA game that sells millions of copies, but when your tagline is ridding the world of oppression and taking down the elites, yeah, just doesn't seem very interesting, and well, it is a total failure. Its all-time peak was yesterday at 110 players, and in-game right now is 72, so this isn't even going to top like 200 or 300 or probably even 500 players, so, well, the anti-capitalist game studio isn't doing so good right now. And Say No More, one of their past games did only have an all-time peak of 85, and this did have a little bit less of a message behind it, but we still cannot ignore the fact that this is a studio that is very similar to Red Thread Games. We all saw how Dustborn was, the narratives that were pushed in that. Of course, the way that the developers acted, saying they wanted you to walk away with a certain message and they didn't care if you didn't like it. And well, that game failed, this game failed. We're definitely seeing a pattern. Gamers are just sick and tired of not being able to enjoy video games. Video games are a form of escapism, and all people want to do is just have some fun. They want to sit down, they want to play a game, and they want to enjoy their time. And when it comes to Rainbreaker, just playing a tiny bit of the trailer, it doesn't look half bad visually, like when you're in this game, but as you can see with even just some of the character designs, like they're very clearly strong, independent women with like modern day haircuts, and we know the story. I'm honestly shocked though that the big baddie is not a man, but I think it's just because there really aren't any men in this game, so they just had to continue going forward with the all women in power angle. And I do think that this game, just judging by the gameplay, could have probably found an audience, but the way that they marketed it just did not resonate with anybody. And it just goes to show that the modern audience these companies want to chase doesn't exist, or the small number of people that could fit into that category do not actually buy and play video games. So all you're really doing at the end of the day is making a game that absolutely nobody is going to want to support. And when the news broke that the studio was shutting down, I did cover it in a video, and I know the comments are from you guys, and of course you generally agree with my takes, but some of your comments are so fucking funny. Yeah, nobody wants to play a game that was developed by the HR department anymore. All that sweet DEI USAID subsidy money has dried up. The acceleration of closures after that event is remarkable, considering what capitalism is usually what makes game studios make money in the first place. What did they think was going to happen? Create stupid games, win stupid prizes. Shutting down your company right before releasing a product is certainly an interesting way to be anti-capitalist. Calls themselves anti-capitalist games, makes games and sells it in a capitalistic way. Games sold extremely badly because those look and play anti-capitalistic. I like hypocrisy. And again, capitalism always wins. So a lot of these comments are just hilarious, but they're so true because at the end of the day, you need to make a good game in order to make money. And it's like these people think that they can do whatever they want and still make money, and that's clearly not the case. So right now, things are not looking good for their latest project. The studio, known for their anti-capitalist games, has been shut down by their publisher 2 weeks before release, and Rainbreaker is doing terribly on Steam. But that's all that I really had to discuss in this video. Let everyone know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this, give it a like, and if you didn't, give it a dislike. I appreciate your support either way, but I'll talk to you all again in the next video really soon.